3, 2, 1.
All right, guys, we're going to talk a little bit about hunting cutovers. Cutovers could be a great place to find big deer and a lot of deer. This cutover is probably 2 years old, and it's 108 acres, I believe, total. And you need two things when you're hunting cutovers. It's cover and food. And a great way to handle the food portion of it is food plots. And when you're putting in food plots in a cutover, you want those food plots to be next to the wood lines, which is the cover. And that way the deers feel more comfortable about using those food plots. Because a lot of deers won't just come out in the middle of that cutover in the daytime. Normally they won't, but I'm pretty sure every now and then they will. But most of the time they're going to use these food plots. Here is an example of two food plots that we have. One here in the bottom part is a food plot that's a couple of years old and we haven't used in a while. But the one in the back is Keo's food plot, and he uses that food plot all the time. And the orange represents the wood line, which is the cover that we put these food plots next to for the deer to feel more comfortable about using them. So make sure you put your food plots next to some kind of wood line or ditches or anything that's going to keep them more comfortable. And right here is another example of a food plot. The one on the right is Terrace food plot, which that food plot has been used for years and years. And he does see pretty good deer out of that food plot just because it's next to that wood line. And as you can see here, the pines are starting to grow back that they planted. You see the little rows that's next to that main road. That is where they replanted the pines. And you got to remember, those pines are going to grow in the next couple of years. They're going to get taller and taller. So it's going to be kind of hard just to hunt out of a regular stand. You're going to need a tower stand. You're going to need something that's on top of a hill to be able to see over those pines that's growing. But here it's the main road, and as you can see, these food plots are 100, 200, even 300 yards off the main road. And that's another way to keep the deers comfortable about using these food plots in the daytime that you want them to use, because you can see more activity and get a better chance of taking a deer. But I'm just giving you a little insight here. In this tree line right here, it's a ditch that goes down through that tree line, and I haven't been in there in probably 2-3 years, so I don't know if it's any water in that tree line. But as you can see, this is a perfect place to use as a travel corridor to go in between these food plots. And this is the Keo's food plot. The one at the top is the one he uses all the time, and it's a smaller one at the bottom that he's trying to get going. And as you can see here in the middle, he has a tower stand, and that's one of the best ways that you can hunt a cutover that get you elevated enough so you can see over in that cutover. But like I said, in the next 7 to 8 years, those little pine trees that they're replanting, as you can see the little lines, they're going to be 10, 12 foot tall. And so you're not going to be able to just walk through here and look over in that cutover like you can now. You're going to have to rely on trails, food plots, that type thing. So that's another reason. And if you can see these little trails that goes through these planted pines, you want to make sure you keep those trails clean, because like I said, when those pine trees grow, you're going to need a way to navigate through those pine trees. And that would be the best way possible, because the landowners don't want you to cut down the new planted pine trees. So make sure you keep those trails open, and that way you can get in and out of these wood lines, these tree lines, that type thing. Because these tree lines, these deer's going to use these tree lines just like highways. That's another way to hunt these cutovers, is get your ladder stand and get in these get in these tree lines and find the trails, because that's just like a highway. As you can see, those are just like highways and roadways that you run your car and truck down. So the deers are using that as cover. You want to get into these tree lines to find the deer trails and where they're coming in and where they're going out of this tree line, because that way you can pattern where they're coming in and where they're going out, that type thing, which will help you set up stand locations and places to put these food plots. So in this is actually part of the cutover. They left probably a couple of 5-6 acres of trees here, which is on a ridge that you can't see, but it's 4 food plots in this part of this cutover. The one on the right is not in the cutover, but you can see it's adjacent to it. But the one in the middle is Steve's food plot, and we got a couple of videos on that already. But like I said, the biggest thing is he's got cover around it. His food plot, Steve's food plot, is closer to the road than most, but he has good cover around it, which helps him see deer in that food plot. And the other food plots are next to tree lines, which is the cover again that helps be able to hunt a cutover. So make sure you guys, the 2 things, cover and food. If you get those 2 things, you should be able to see deer coming in and out of this cutover with no problem. And just remember, the small pines are going to grow up, and they're not going to be small pines too much longer. So you want to make sure you keep the trails cut, and make sure you have a way to navigate in and out of the tree lines, and actually the cutover also. So guys, make sure you put the food plots in and keep the trails cut. That way you'll have a more successful year hunting cutovers. But guys, I want to thank you for watching the video. Hopefully you was entertained much as I could entertain you. And to the next video, we out of here. Thanks for watching.